no road construction or no job should be more than 2 years. For a 100-kilometer road, why are you taking more than 2 years, to construct, to build? He also did say that I think the Abuja-Lokoja road, they will, build a flyover. I remember, he's one of those governors who really focused on building flyovers, in his state at the time. He also, gave a severe warning to the civil servants that no file should be on their desk for more than 2 days. You know how civil service works, no offense to the civil servant, but you know how it works. How sometimes you have to, my goodness, it takes a long while for certain documents to be treated. But he has said none of them should frustrate him. No document should be on the table for more than 2 days. How feasible? I mean, these are great ideas, I should say. Contractors, get your jobs done in what do you call it now? In 2 days, in 2 years. I beg it. I just got a message. I'm trying to look at it. I'll get you the information in a bit. But he said, do not get your contracts beyond 2 years. Make sure you do it in 2 years. If that is done, the East-West Road, for example, that you and I have been complaining about, will be sorted out, right? 2 years maximum. Good idea, but is it feasible? First question. Now, let's go to the Ministry of Defense, where we've got Badaru as the minister. He has given the security chiefs a timeline, he has asked them to bring out timelines for the varying security issues bedeviling the country. He has asked them to ensure that, Boko Haram, give me a timeline. Insecurity in the southeast, give me a timeline. Banditry, give me a timeline. Kidnapping, give me a timeline. All of the issues in the south, oil theft, pipeline vandalism, give me a timeline. He's asked for timelines. And he said it's good because if they have a goal and a vision, then the service chiefs will be propelled to do the needful and ensure that they meet the timeline so as to bring proper security to the people, which of course is the first responsibility of government, protecting the lives and properties of the citizens. And he said this is something he has to take to the president, because the president would hold him accountable, and so he has to hold them accountable. So they would have to bring a timeline. But really, looking at the insecurity in the country, in the southeast, in the south, in the northeast, now in the northwest, even in the north central, almost every geopolitical zone in the country has got one security issue or the other. Will there be a feasible timeline? I mean, never say never. Impossibility should not be the word. But is there a possible timeline, to the insecurity issues in the country? So what do you make of it? And, he talked tough. He even talked about, changing them if they don't meet the timeline. That there is the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, the gas sector of it. They separated it into gas and oil. And I'm talking about Ekperikpe Ekpo. He has talked about utilization of gas as an alternative to petrol. Sounds like what the Minister for Solid Minerals did say, that Dele Alake, yesterday. I did see a report today where it said 12.7 metric standard cubic feet of gas was fled in the month of July 2023, costing the country 34.1 billion naira. That's according to Nostra. Gas is still being fled. So I'm wondering, would he be able to keep to his word? I mean, we've had several governments come and go, and they all did say we will utilize gas in the country. By the way, we're so blessed with gas. I think we're ranked top 10 in terms of gas reserves in our country. And we've not been able to utilize it. But it looks like this minister has come in, and he's from the south. He's from the Niger Delta. He understands gas flaring, I believe. He understands the enormous gas reserves that we have. He's from the south once again. So do you think it's feasible? I mean, we've had these promises before, but yet again, I want to hear from you. Now, we'll move away from that to Transportation Minister Said Al-Khali who has promised to bring electric vehicles to Nigeria as a way to, ease the pain of the subsidy removal. By the way, yesterday, through Ngelale, the federal government did say that they will reel out CNG buses to the 36 states as palliative. We talked about it earlier. So are these things feasible? I mean, CNG buses, yes. Electric vehicle, what about that? Given the electric situation in the country, do we have, what they say, for instance, that we can generate more than 5,000 megawatts of electricity, but we don't have, the means to distribute it to, the various houses in the various parts of the country. So would we be able to utilize electricity to the point where we can now power our vehicles? I'm just asking, how is that going to work? Is that feasible? Looking at the structure of power in the country. Of course, there is the Interior Minister, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, who has also promised to eradicate passport scarcity. He has talked about ensuring that the porosity of the border becomes a thing of the past. He also talked about the time by which, the fire service, the federal fire service, reacts to, issues of emergency like fire and the likes. Stories we've heard before, but then again, never say never. That's my word. Remember, I never dwell on the problem. I always look at solution, and that's why we have this conversation. That's why I come into the studio every day. Do you see these things as possibility? Listening to Tunji-Ojo, who is a minister of Interior. He also, talked about decongesting the custodial centers. Is going to work with the Ministry of Justice to ensure that, because we've had on several occasions that our various prisons or, custodial centers are congested. Now let's go to the Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning, who has talked about ensuring that it will make the economy better. It will ensure that Nigerians, get to enjoy the dividends of the democracy or good governance. And he said, it will create jobs and all of that stuff. He mentioned it. Then there is the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy. I'm talking about Wale Edu, who says he will tackle inflation by cutting down cash flow, and he intends to do that by increasing the cash reserves of banks, so the money that they deposit in the CBN. He also would, increase, is it interest rate? I think that's what he said he will do. And he also mentioned some other things to ensure that, there is little or few cash circulation. It sounds like what Emefiele did some time ago, where some of us were crying during the cash crunch. It may not be exactly the same, but it sounds similar. And he said that is the way he's going to fight inflation. I am not an economist, but I do think that, fighting inflation in the country, we need to ensure that we have production going on very well. The manufacturers are, doing manufacturing optimally. MSMEs are working optimally as well. Job creation, money in circulation, everybody, and we're importing less. In that way, I do feel inflation will drop. But what do I know? I'm going to open the phone lines now. There are many other ministers who have said things, like the Minister of Science and Technology and some other ministers. But, these are the key ones that I've thought about or that I've read about. There's also the Minister of Police Affairs who, has promised better policing. I just had to run through some of them so we can have a conversation. Do you see these promises as things that are feasible enough? I'd like to hear from you after the commercial break. Please do stay tuned. joining the conversation, welcome. You're listening to 92.3 Nigeria Info, your audio-visual radio station. Yes, because you can watch us live on Facebook, 92. Nigeria Info PH, I beg your pardon, Nigeria Info PH. And you can also watch us live on YouTube, Nigeria Info PH, and on X, formerly Twitter, we're active, Nigeria Info PH. You can catch the visuals there. And you can listen live via your radio, 92.3 Nigeria Info. All right, that being said, let's get straight to the phone line, 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003. WhatsApp number 0809-030-6416. I did not mention the FCT minister. He also made some new pledges today. He talked about eradicating poor sanitation in Abuja. And I'm wondering how feasible that is, because for about 7 years while he was governor of Rivers State, sanitation was a problem up until they changed the leadership of Rwanda, and then we began to see some, positives in terms of sanitation. He even admitted at some point, his government failed in terms of sanitation. He has also promised project upon projects, but he has to first look into the financial books of Abuja. He has also promised that for transportation, there has to be some changes, no illegal bus stops, no illegal, trading on the road and all of that stuff, like he did while he was governor of Rivers State. He also talked about, I know he did talk about the director in charge of transportation, and he mentioned that they would have to up their game. He also talked about some other sectors in Abuja. I'm trying to remember now. Of course, the Metro Rail, he said he was going to complete that one, still on the transportation. I know I've mentioned sanitation. There's another part, but I can't remember. Let's go straight to the phone lines. I've got Zion from GRA. Zion, greetings to you. Welcome. How feasible are these promises?
Good evening to you.
All right, welcome.
In all, it seems it's always the Minister of FCT that is comprehensive in his approach.
How do you
mean?
The
rest are just being so that they're comedians to me.
Why'd you say so?
I'm telling you the truth.
Why'd you say so?
Look at what the Minister of Interior is saying to make visa so easy and available.
Passport, not visa. Passport, please. Your
Passport.
Nigerian
Yes,
passport.
sorry, passport. Yes.
Yeah.
Passport for what?
But people find it difficult getting passports. They are the bottlenecks and all that.
Getting a passport for if you love your nation. If you love your country, what are you looking for? Passport that will give you a visa.
I could have a business deal abroad. I could be going for a seminar. I could be going for a training. There are several reasons.
The most shameful thing that can happen to any nation is when your citizens are leaving your country. Look at the problem Philippines is going through now. A lot of Filipinos or Filipians are leaving their country because there is no source for employment or engagement.
All right.
Now a lot of Philippines are abroad with the aid of their country. But this is our country, Nigeria. And what the Minister of Interior to say is to make this kind of a lazy comment as a riot act for his ministry when he has a lot to do internally. That as I'm talking to you now, people working in River State, Port Harcourt, we don't know where a lot of them come from. Some of them have been back
he talked about porosity of the border as well. He talked about other things
brother,
he chose
I
to
want to
listen
put it to you that for the past 8 years,
Just one.
what the Ministry of Interior have done, number one, is to announce public holidays. I stand to be corrected.
All right, thank you, Zion. Zion, I've got to
Number
go now.
two,
Yeah,
is
quickly.
to tell you about
What happened there? What happened? I've got Clinton from Bori. Clinton, welcome on the show.
Father, good evening.
Yeah, welcome.
Let me start by saying that there's a new sheriff in town. Yes, and once the head is working, other appendages must work. So I think that Mr. President is a man of strong character, strong personality, and a man of proven track record. He would ensure that he makes demands of these ministers to ensure they deliver on his renewed hope agenda. Canada, This country is blessed with a lot of resources. And I'm certain that with the available resources we have, we can get the country working again.
Right.
But what we need is someone with strong character, someone that can make decisions. The resources are plenty, but we must leverage on these resources to better the life of Nigerians. So I think what the minister should be able to do is to optimize, to deliver optimally on the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President.
All right,
That's what is important, because the problems we face in this country are artificial problems. They are man-made problems.
All right, then. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. But I do hope that you all can also look at ministries like Ministry of Work that says all the federal roads, at least the contractors would have a maximum of 2 years to fix the roads. A maximum of 2 years. I've got Samuel from Rumu Kalagbo. Samuel, greetings to you. Welcome on the show. What's on your mind?
Good evening.
Yeah.
Yes, so let me look at the Ministry of Finance and Budget.
The Ministry of what? Finance. Okay.
Ministry of Finance, yeah,
and budget. Okay. It's not Ministry of Finance and economy, and then budget and economy as well. Two different ministries.
Yeah, budget and economy.
Okay. All right then.
Yeah, because the why I'm saying this, the most important thing that is maybe Nigeria is angry today because of the hard economy of this Nigeria is today.
Okay.
When you look at the past administration, the economy of Nigeria is more better than now current administration. So now we want these ministers to look at the past administration of the era of PDP and to have things, the price of things in the market as for that time and the now. So they should look at all those things and put all these things into work and make sure that all these things, make sure that things will come down in this country as normally as it be in the previous administration.
All right.
So that is what I want from them. They should do their best and make sure that things will be okay. And when things will be okay in this country, I'm not sure that there will be problem in this country.
All right. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Samuel. I've got Court. Court is calling from Choba. Court, welcome.
Yeah. Majority of the promises we are hearing from the ministers is not achievable.
So you've not. So you're saying none of them. None of them. I'm listening. Go ahead.
Hello.
Go ahead. I'm listening. Go.
Yeah.
Go on.
Majority of the promises we are hearing from the ministers' mouth, some of them are not achievable. Why do I say so? Because we don't have culture of continuity. Now the Ministry of Transportation is telling us how to bring electric vehicles into the country unprepared. You never think about how to restore 24 hours power supply. You are talking about a car that they used to charge with electricity. How can that work? Where is the charging station? Because we have this country is police station and gas station.
Those could be fixed now. Court.
30 seconds, 100%, and they are ready to go. It's not achievable because it's more than 4 years to achieve something they are telling us. But the fact they will abandon it and go, another government will come and begin to talk about nuclear sciences. How can we achieve them? That's the problem we have with them. Because all these things is just recycling the same people. Have you seen any new place there? We are not encouraging of power before now. So I don't think that is achievable.
All right, then.
About the clergyman. Yeah,
no. We've moved on from that conversation. I'm sorry, I've got to let you go. I've got Elumba. Elumba is calling from Artillery. Elumba, welcome.
I agree to Canada.
I greet you right back. Welcome.
Yeah, I want to talk about it. From what somebody does before, you will be able to know what it's about to do. The other day, we hear the Inspector General of Police where we are in. He said he behaved like a deal like lion and he wants to devour the whole security in Nigeria. Since that day, now he has been there. How far? And you need to know, I want to ask you as a journalist, just tell me one sector in Nigeria that are working well, only one. That doesn't say it's not this one. Tell me one. I beg, I'm waiting. It cannot. Can you do one sector of working well? Let me tell you what it is. This is super story.
All right.
Life is so. It's what it is. Nothing will change.
All
And
right,
nothing
then.
change.
All right.
God bless you.
Thank you very much for your time. I've got Fred from On Air. Fred from On Air, welcome. Let's hear your thoughts, please.
Thank you very much. Good evening.
Yeah.
Talking about the situation and the committee of the ministers of research, I think they have come a long way to know that Nigeria is doing a lot. Our citizens as a whole is people that have committed so much to make sure that they are in their offices. Our ministers should be thinking on how, because how prices of oil, concrete, or whatever we will brought to this and make sure that
that's not a part of my conversation, is it? I mean,
I know.
So quickly, please summarize. Quickly, please. I'm listening.
Hello?
I can hear you. Quickly, go ahead with your conversation. Quickly, please.
Okay. Now, they should be thinking on how to make sure that we break up our refineries. Make sure that people will be benefiting from it. I don't think Nigeria have anything they are exporting. But all we have been doing is in taking things from outside countries, which is not helping our nation.
All right. Thank you, Fred. I've got to let you go at this point. I've got Chijoke and Perez standing by. Chijoke from Port Harcourt, welcome. Let's get your thoughts, please.
Hi, good evening.
Yeah, greetings. Welcome.
Canada.
Yeah, welcome. Yeah.
The minister that says he or she, I don't know if it's a he or she, that want to bring in electric vehicles into the country.
Okay.
I think
it's a guy, it's a man, but go ahead. Yeah, I'm listening.
It's a man, sorry. So I think, once again, in a bid for them not to get into the president's situation, whereby he went ahead and mentioned that that was going to Niger without actually having a meeting and properly preparing for that. So you have the minister that says he's going to be bringing electric vehicles into the country, but then the country is properly set up for electric vehicles.
Okay, sorry, I was going to ask. Chijoke, can you hear me, please?
I can hear you.
I was going to ask the previous caller who mentioned, electric structure, recently. Is it so difficult? Is it rocket science, fix or put in place electric structures for electric vehicles? Is it rocket science? I mean, think about it.
Of course, it's not rocket science. But are we even currently able to manage our current situation in terms of petrol and diesel?
All right.
If you bring in CNG, I even fear, yes, that's going to be a lot cheaper, but then the management of it. This country is all about bringing in new ideas, but to manage it on the long run, it's a problem. Now, if you're talking about electric vehicles, drivers have to be. There has to be mechanic workshops specifically for those kind of equipment.
All right.
There has to be power. There has to be steady power. So are you now going to buy a generator to power the equipment that's going to charge the vehicle? It's just a crazy situation. Do you understand? So I think the minister needs to really think through it before he imports even one electric vehicle.
All right.
That's my opinion.
All right, TJK, thank you very much. But I think, what's his name? Ben Murray Bruce uses an electric vehicle. Some of the people, I want to believe, use that. I've heard quite a few people say they do use, hybrid vehicles that is both electric and petrol fueled. So I don't know, maybe. I've got Perez. Perez from OG, welcome. Let's get your thoughts, please.
All right, Kala. Good evening, sir.
I agree with you.
Actually, this afternoon when they were discussing about how what our ministers promise will work, I told them until we learn how to believe on our leaders, things will never get better. All right. Now, the Minister for Transportation said he's going to import electric vehicles, and people are doubting him. How will it work? How our electricity is not working? Let me tell them, for the information, electricity works in Nigeria. Okay. We are living in Oyigbo. I, in person, scientist in Oyigbo. We have 24 hours electric power here in Oyigbo. And when we are talking about electric motor, we are not talking about NEPA motor. Sometimes when we talk about solar, we are equally talking about electric. So most of those cars that you are seeing, they have solar panels all over their body. So it's not necessarily that they will go and start charging it on NEPA light before it will work. So we should learn how to start believing in our leaders so that things will start working in this country. Because anything you come out to talk, people will criticize. People that do more.
Can I ask you a question? You said Oyibo got past life. That's not the reply I get from Oyibo. You said about the statement you made?
Kala, that is a story for another day. Okay. If I want to tell you the reason why those people that say in Oyigbo do not have light.
Okay, all right then. All right.
You understand me?
All right. By the way, I think I was going to tell you about India and them landing on the moon. So yeah, a few hours ago they became the fourth country to land on the moon. The Soviet Union, the United States, and China are the only three countries successfully carried out soft landings on the moon. All right, so let's get to messages now. This one says, I thought Wike hates monorail and anything associated to rail from Stan. One, what is being built in Abuja is not a monorail, it's a metro rail. That means it's more than one rail. Mono means one rail. Metro, I think two, it could be more. So it's already been started. He says he wants to complete it. I don't know why he didn't complete the monorail. Maybe the feasibility of completing the monorail was very low. That is a possibility. I do not know. Maybe it was political. I don't know. But yeah, I think he said he will complete and he will complete. Moving on now. This one says, good evening, Nigeria Info. Dave Umahi, Minister of Works, right to some extent based on the way he transformed and engaged with their resources at disposal. He is going round the federal game for the Minister of Finance. I can tell you that I don't expect much from because he wants to suffer common man street. He should rather encourage and cut the excesses of the political money back. For the Ministry of Police Affairs, there will never be police in entry unless police is expunged from the police spending scheme. There is absolute thing to encourage the police officers unless welfare is improved. But you know what I say? Never say never. You never know. Police could get better this administration. This one says Afam Road in Oda didn't have light for 20 months. All right, so people Afam can confirm that there is power supply. So maybe if we are beginning to improve the power situation, then electric can work, right? But the reason why we're having this conversation is to ask the question: do you feel confident about an economic recovery? Now with ministers are telling you our plans. This is how we're going to ensure that New Hope becomes a reality. And I'm asking you to just instill confidence in you. In terms of the Nigeria is traveling. There's another commercial break coming. After that, the major news at 6. But when we come back, I will take your calls because I still see some of you calling me. Take your calls and we will talk for development of our dear country, Nigeria, the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I'm Kala Dako Rubatabo and you're listening to Hard Facts on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Do stay tuned.